Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button, and keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. All right, folks, here we are on Wednesday, November 29th. We're going to take a look at Chargepoint today. So Chargepoint's threatening to break this downtrend resistance again. If we look at the last setup, this was a nice little curving pattern that was rejecting off of the downtrend resistance, which has been in play for quite some time. And that was able to sort of also put in its own little curve structure and then a big gap up on this day, up over 17%. But it ran right into this red sort of sell zone that we had put on the chart last time when we thought that it might break. And that stood up, right? It held. I mean, it tried to stretch above here, but super top heavy wick on this one, and really just sort of flattened itself back down into there, and then came through with a down day of over 35%. So that's obviously that skipped this here potential buy zone that we were looking for, this buy zone to try to hold up to get it some distance from this downtrend resistance. But with such a down day, that obviously didn't stand. And so I was going to turn this red because, I would expect this to become new resistance. But I think actually the better move here, because there's this big gap now, there's also a gap above if you noticed it when I zoomed out. But in any case, this one here, I'm going to turn this purple because that's also going to be a resistance level. That would fill it. And then this one, I guess we could say, since it filled it partially, we could say that it kicks off here, which is not probably, as far as I can tell yet, a resistance. And then there's going to be resistance in the gap, right around here. And let me see where else we went. Here. Let's see if I want to wiggle this a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Those are the ones that I would put in for now. If it works its way through that 258, and it's still in the gap, then we can come in and put some additional ones. But like I said, trying to break this downtrend resistance, nice hammery kind of candle here. But then today, top heavy wick at the moment. We'll see what that amounts to. It is really hard, as you're seeing, for long distressed stocks to not only neutralize a trend, much less reverse a trend. It's an epic endeavor. So it's not something for the faint of heart. So yeah, gap, levels in the gap, and then still this big potential sell zone as it would come up to filling that gap. It looks like it's a monstrous distance away. It's really just a bit over $1. Percentage wise, it's huge, but it's just crazy how much sort of has happened in such a short period of time with this one. Now flipping over here to the Think or Swim study, I thought for a moment maybe it was putting in sort of a similar structure to last time. It was outside of the channel, right? It spent a long time outside the channel and then finally worked itself back in. And then here, it hasn't spent a long time outside of the channel yet, but it looked like maybe it was going to come and start to work itself in. Here's the big difference that I see. It's not just the amount of time that it was spent out of the channel, but it is here on the histogram, the TTM squeeze indicator. You see it was clearly drawing down on the bearish momentum. So, it started to curl in as that bearish momentum started to die down, and it was able to make a run toward the mid-range, secure its spot in the channel as it continued to die down, and then tried to make a run up and over, failed. That's where that big gap down came from. So this motion to me, and not that it has to look the same, but the two things that would worry me, that would make me feel like maybe this isn't going to be able to get into the channel, much less push the mid-range of the channel just yet, is this top heavy wick on this setup. We can see that that's shrugging off below, not even quite to, but below the red wave cloud. And when that typically happens, we expect that there may be more bearish momentum that needs to be expressed before that will die down enough for it to continue to make a push into the channel, and much less toward the mid-range. And here on the histogram, very clearly, even with this sort of flat motion, showing that bearish momentum continuing to pick up. So, I'm skeptical at the moment that it's going to be able to continue to push in here, minus, of course, or short of some major catalyst that we just aren't accounting for because this is a chart analysis. But short of that, I don't see just the motion on the chart itself being super promising. That said, if it can continue to even kill this bearish momentum by continuing to move sideways, that mid-range of the channel and the red wave cloud, for that matter, will come down to it. So, maybe there's some optionality there for it to just sort of like push sideways and secure some of that motion for the time being. But I didn't even consider putting in a level like near in. We could do that because there's a bunch of levels here. I'd probably pick this guy, to be honest. This here at 194. And then let me see if there's anything else. Yeah, this one's pretty interesting up here. Yeah, that seems fine to me. 204. So if it's able to, come down a little bit or move up a little bit, those are the nearest in levels that I would be looking at. But that's just, my take on the motion as I see it. If it is able to come through here or even through here and get some distance from this downtrend, this was obviously appeared more promising, but that all fell apart exceptionally quickly. But this one, I briefly thought that it was looking more interesting than I actually think it is, and for all the reasons that I just explained. But crazier things have happened, so we'll see. All right, folks, I hope that you've had a happy hump day, and as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.